Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. We are down in Florida. You can probably tell by looking around right here behind me, and it's like mid-February. And the thing about it down here this year, they've just really not had a lot of cold water. So I truly don't know what stage these fish are going to be in. If they're pre-spawn, some are spawning. I'm sure some are post-spawn probably. But in this video today, I want to go through breaking down a lake that has a variety of covers and really what you need to do when you're fishing through that cover, you know, to make sure that you're covering it well, but also covering the water as quick as you possibly can, and try to figure out that pattern. You know, are the fish going to be on the inside? Are they going to be on the outside? Are they in the edges? Or is it kind of a scattered deal and they're a little bit everywhere in between? So hope you like this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we're going to go out and try to catch a bass today. All right, what I want to do is break down, you know, fishing a lot of different types of vegetation, or just anytime you've got a lot of cover along in a line like this. We've got, you know, a good line of Kissimmee grass. There's some other stuff up shallow. There's boat docks. There's a lot of different stuff mixed in. It can be a bit overwhelming at times if you look at this and say, man, how am I going to figure out where these bass are going to be set up and which type of cover they're using? So this intro is really, this video is really to help you dissect cover, pick it apart, while yet still covering water, and try to figure out where those fish are holding at. Here's one. Just a little dude. That's funny, I had pitched at that jet ski float and I had actually fished it back out a little ways before that dude bit. It's kind of funny. Not a real big one, but it just goes to show you, don't overlook anything. You know, you've got a big nice dock, you've got grass, you've got a lot of other stuff going on, but jet ski floats are always a place that I make sure to make a cast or two. They just make a really good shadow, and I don't know, I've just caught a lot of fish around them. But was it the jet ski float, or was it those 3 little sprigs of Kissimmee grass, and the fish may have been on a bed right there? I don't know. I'm gonna rig up another sticko. I really like the way this stuff here is laying, because you've got a good hard edge. It's actually a little bit thicker, and then behind it, it's thinner. So you would think any fish sitting in this stuff, especially right through here, are most definitely going to be in this thicker edge. It'll make real good sense right through here. Golly. Look, he's right out on the end of that dock. That's not a little one. He was just swimming with that thing. Come here. Golly. What a good fish. On the sticko, it's a big old black and blue 6-inch sticko. Catching chunks. Use 17 fluoro or lighter?
Yeah.
14, 17. Here's a bite. Well, I wasn't trying to swing him in just yet, but he kind of wanted to jump in the boat on his own, so we'll just bring him on up in here. That is a textbook spot to catch one out of grass like that. You've got a very good defined point here, okay? It's kind of thin there on the side, but it comes out here on the point, and there's a nice, good clump right on the edge of that point. I'd pitch in the hole right behind it and envision the fish having been sitting in the clump going into that hole to eat that sticko, and jacked him with that red line hybrid worm hook really well right in the top of the mouth. That is a perfect setup for where a fish like that should be. what I've got, I started off with a lighter weight, but I ended up going up to a 5/16 just because just wasn't getting down in that stuff at every pitch like I wanted it to. Every pitch wasn't efficient, so I went up to that 5/16. Bass Pro Sticko Black Blue Flake. But I've got, I love to use braid and leader on this stuff, so I've got 40-pound braid tied to a 20-pound XPS fluorocarbon leader. Is a really good setup for me doing that. That way you get the sensitivity and the no stretch of the braid. Doesn't probably matter in this color water about the invisibility of the fluorocarbon, but sometimes it definitely does. Here's one. Nice little chunk out of that kind of an isolated little patch of Kissimmee grass. You know, I'm in between the big lines right now, and the nice thing I really like about this, I'm actually able to get shallower. So much of this back down through here was a line, and the outside edge of it was all like 5-6 feet deep. I don't feel like I was even getting shallow enough to where these fish were, but this was a perfect little point coming out there by itself, and that fish was kind of out in that deepest patch of it. Really pretty Florida fish there, very dark colors. Nice fish. He's gonna jump. Case, you reckon? I guess he was not done with my Sticko when I thought he was. I pulled the Sticko up to the top of the water, and that fish came up and smoked it. Might as well have been a frog bite. Dude, that was sweet. Pulling it up out of there, I'd pitch right by that dock post and jiggled it across a couple of those flat reeds and bringing it up, and that fish just absolutely stomped it. So I feel like I'm starting to understand what the key is, more than the type of cover. Docks, reeds, pads, Kissimmee grass. The biggest key seems to be the depth, getting where it's a little bit shallower. Fished a long pretty stretch down through there that was like 4.5, 6 foot deep on the edge, and didn't do any good all the way down through there. Got up here where it's, you know, 1.5 to 3 foot deep. Boom, 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 started catching them. So we're gonna get back after it. 16 to 20 pounds is, you're not asking for something crazy to do that. Did you whack him? There's one rolled in that hole right up there. Boy, get me out front of that dock. Dude, that thing never hit the bottom. I just pitched it up under there, and that fish grabbed a hold of it and started pulling me back up under that dock. Dang. I was not ready for that bite, to say the least. But it was pulling me so tight, man, I was able to get it real good. That is so cool. And it's been fun because it's been a mix of cover tops. I've caught big ones out of Kissimmee grass. I've caught big ones off of docks. You know, it's been cool because it's been a mix, and it's neat to see when you get a lake that's got everything, because it's not like you always have to just eliminate one type of cover and say, hey, I'm only going to do this, I'm only going to focus on that. It's good sometimes just to literally fish whatever you come to, because bass are liable to be using multiple types of cover at any point in time. It's a pretty one. Man, for my first day out here on this body of water, I was pretty happy with the way it turned out. You know, caught some good fish, caught a decent number of fish for no longer than we were out here. So I'm really, really happy about it. You know, a big key truly just ended up being fishing what I came to. I caught fish that were in Kissimmee grass solely. I caught fish that were on boat docks. I caught fish that were in a mix of different stuff. But a big part of it seemed like getting to where I was in that 2 to 4 foot range. If it was 4.5 or 5 feet or deeper, that's just not where the fish were for whatever reason. So whether it was a dock that was shallower, whether it was the Kissimmee grass that was shallower, whether it was pads and other stuff mixed together, the key was getting to those places where it was a little bit shallower. And everything I caught, that made it pretty simple as well, was on that Bass Pro Sticko. That's a 6-inch Sticko. I wanted a big bait. I wanted a bigger profile. I was trying to catch big ones today, and that 6-inch black blue flake was doing the job. Interesting thing, so on the weight, I started off with a 3/16 ounce weight. I like that really well for this setup. It just wasn't quite getting the job done. I caught a couple fish on it and it was fine around the boat docks, but when I got in those areas with a little bit thicker Kissimmee grass, it just wouldn't pull my line down through there well enough, so I had to upsize to a 5/16. Feel like I was getting just as many bites with the 5 as I was the 3/16, so that was a good call. For the hook on that, that's the new VMC red line. It's called the hybrid worm hook. Just your round bend worm hook, a little bit wider gap than usual, but dude, that is a dynamite hook. Using a bobber stop on that, of course, to keep it pegged. 20-pound XPS fluorocarbon leader tied to a 40-pound braided line. Probably could have just been straight braid, to be honest, with the watercolor here, but this is what I had rigged up, so that was just what I put it on. The setup, this is a Johnny Morse Carbon Light 7.3 heavy action rod. I like that heavy action rod and the type of cover I was fishing. Carbon Light reel, 8:3 to 1 gear ratio. That high speed reel does very good when you're pitching stuff like that. Get the bait back to you quick, be able to make the next pitch. So, man, that was a fun day. Again, I hope y'all enjoyed it. And you know, fishing sometimes is more about not trying to define an exact pattern. Sometimes there's really not a pattern to where all the fish are. You just need to get a certain depth. The depth was more key today than the actual piece of cover itself.